Hello and welcome. This is going to be a divine partnership coaching video for the path of the Empress for step 13. And I've been thinking about it for a little bit, and I've been kind of liking sticking with the theme of honoring the major arcana in the tarot deck for this. So the 13th card is the Death card. It's related most commonly to Scorpio, and it's all about like transformation and transmigration and alchemy and things of that nature. And also, for me, when I see the skeletal figure that's on the horse, it's about stripping down to your bare bones, right? Stripping down to it. So this step is, I'm going to call it twofold, so to speak. What I want you to do is what I suggest that you do. You don't have to do it. You can toss it out and say, nope. What I suggest is that you make a list of all the things that you are. You like go with, usually people start out with like, well, like I am my job, like I am a nurse, or I am a temp writer, or I am an artist, or things like that. Write that down. And then I am a mother, I am a brother, I am a sister, I am a child, I am a parent, things like that. And keep breaking it down. Break it down as far as you can, like get past it. Like when you get past nationality and like religion or spiritual path, and you get past your career and your family status, or even get down past divine feminine. When you really get down to it, where do you get to? And I'm actually not going to answer the question for you, because that defeats the purpose of the finding the joy in doing that yourself. Now, do that for yourself, and then if you feel called to, do that for your DM too. Like, start at the top and then break it down and get beyond the point where you go like my lover or my this or things like that. Like, break it all the way down. When you get past the surface stuff, the shallow stuff, like, keep going. And that stuff, I want to say it matters, but it's not necessarily important. You'll see why when you do the exercise. The next thing that I suggest that you do is to kind of have a bit of a funeral for your old self and your DM's old self. This should be mostly focused on you, but sometimes it's easier to utilize our twins. What am I going to call it? Like, sometimes it's easier to look from the outside in, and we often get focused on our twins, and so it might be helpful in a way just to kind of use them as like, well, they have those little artist models. It's like a person, but it's got knobbly legs, and you can like position it the way that you want to so that you can draw something. Like, kind of use it like that. The focus of this isn't you're not doing this for your twin. It's simply that they are there as a reflection. And a lot of times, if you look at what is with them, you can look at the reflection of yourself. So like, if your DM has been flaky or not accountable, or they ghost, or they are reactive, or they have tempers, or they have big shame cycles, or things like that, poor communication skills, they've kept a lot of backup plans, or they've not been very mature, or they've got heavy ego, on and on. Like, you list that out, and then look at your own stuff, because it's very likely, in fact, if they are your twin, you reflect them. You might have different things that you go into ego about. You might have different things that you get arrogant about, because a lot of twins are also polar opposites. So the things that we get worked up about or triggered about, or our flaws and bad habits, are not always about the same things, but they're typically in the same energy, and we still typically act in the same way. It's funny because we don't often see it until we really stop and break it down and look at it. Now, once you break down and you look at your old self stuff, like think about the things that you want to improve on. Like, not the parts of yourself that you hate. Like, don't look at it like that. Your shadows are a part of who you are, and they're a part of what make you wonderful. However, there's always room to grow. And the nice thing is about this human experience we've manifested is that you're never all done with the work. So you're not going to like erase yourself or become like this perfect blissed out being. No, once you work through the shadows of the old versions of you, there will be new ones, and there'll be a higher quality of shadows to be working with, which is really kind of fun and cool when you start to get to that point and you can start dancing with your shadows, which also kind of reminds me of the Death card and of Scorpio in general. And once you get that down, you get yours down, and you get your DM's stuff down, like, have a little funeral about it. Don't burn the list. Do not burn it. I'll talk a little bit more in a different separate video about why not to burn things and when to burn things, but don't burn these lists. And if you want, actually, a much more healing thing that you can do is to bury them. Like, you know, maybe if you have I mean, you could do it in your backyard or do it by a tree or something like that. But, you know, write out the stuff that's old version you and old version them, and then write like an obituary, or as if you were going to like speak at a funeral ceremony about, like, here lies the old me who was really bad about saying no when she should have said no, who let herself be taken advantage of by others because she was so afraid of feeling unlovable if she didn't say yes to nearly everything. You know, and here lies my old self, who had an incredible fear of abandonment and put others first so often that she put herself last, and her body suffered, and, you know, things like that. It's kind of like an apology to yourself, but it's going the other way. And then do the same thing for your DM in terms of, like, here lies the old version of my DM who was so afraid of not being accepted for who he was that he often lied and made himself appear to be happier or more courageous or more, what's the word, lied about his feelings. Like, here lies the old version of my DM who was so afraid of love, especially when he found it in me, that he tried to pretend like he didn't care. Or, you know, here lies the old version of my DM who did not love himself enough to feel like he was worthy of me, you know. And likewise, and you can kind of go back and forth and add more to yours. Is like, here lies the old version of me who was so afraid of love that she made it all about her DM and what he was or was not doing, rather than about how she was feeling and thinking about herself and learning to love herself. Like, just kind of go through that process, you know, and do that. And then let me know in the comments below how you felt about that. I'm going to do a few more videos in this series that will carry on from here, but this is your 13th step. And if you have a tarot deck, it might be nice to take out the Death card and kind of study it. If you don't, you can look them up online, or look up many of the wonderful readers and teachers on YouTube that talk about the Death card. There's a lot of wonderful symbolism in it. Or maybe think about, meditate on the sign of Scorpio and see how you feel about that stuff. Alright, y'all, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.